One of the questions that I get asked a ton on this channel and through social media is the question of which cars perform best on Turo. Now, believe it or not, this is a question that is pretty difficult to answer because of the fact that there are so many factors that come into play whenever you're determining which cars are the best performing. For example, what type of car is it? How much did it cost? Is there a payment associated with that car? How much is the insurance? How much is the maintenance? Where are you located? What is your busy time of year? What is the weather or climate like? There are so many different factors that need to be taken into account whenever you're trying to answer this question. And because of that, I've never been able to really answer that question accurately. All I've been able to do is answer that question based off of my own experience. And that is exactly what I want to talk about in this video. It is that time of year again. It is the end of 2021. And because of that, I want to break down some of my best performing cars for the entire year. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down my 3 best performing cars. I'm going to be talking about why these cars are my best performing, some of the different or alternative makes and models that you could look at if you're interested in buying these types of cars, and I'm also going to be talking about the numbers as well. So let's get started. Now, if you guys are interested in checking out some of my different best performing cars of the past, I will include a few links down in the description below highlighting some of these videos. For example, I've made videos talking about my Toyota Yaris's, my Ford Escape, both of which are high performing cars. I've also talked about some of my lowest performing cars as well. For example, my 2007 Ford Focus. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, I will include a few links down below, as I do think that that really helps paint the entire picture of which cars of mine perform well and which ones simply do not. In addition to that, if you guys could do me a huge favor and if you could hit the like button and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm, I would greatly appreciate it. This helps my channel grow because it helps let YouTube know that you guys are enjoying my content, and thus YouTube pushes my content out to a new audience. So if you guys could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's dig into the video because we have a lot to cover. Now, whenever I talk about my 3 best performing vehicles, it's important to keep a few things in mind. Number 1 is the fact that all of my cars, with the exception of my Maserati Ghibli, are paid for in cash, meaning there is no loan, there is no car payment associated with these vehicles. Now, I get asked a lot why I've decided to buy all of my cars in cash, and the reason is because I think it's just safer. With Turo, you do not have control over the Turo platform. You will never have control over the Turo platform, and because of that, I have always been uncomfortable with the idea of over leveraging myself with debt in order to buy more cars to list on Turo. I've decided that going the cash route was the best and safest route for me in my business model. It's the route that I advocate for. It's the route that I talk about in my course. I simply think it's the best path to pursue. But I will admit that there are a lot of different ways to go about running a successful Turo business, and there are a lot of Turo hosts that disagree with me, but that's just simply the route and the path that I found works best for me, my business model, and my goals. I also think it's important to keep in mind that I've bought a ton of cars this year, and as a result, some of the data that I am going to be talking about is not complete for the year of 2021, and I'm talking more on month by month in the projections for 2022 because I don't have all of the data associated with all of my cars for the entire year. And so with all of those caveats out of the way, let's dig into my 3rd best performing vehicle, and that is my 2011 lime green Mazda 2. Now, HP and I purchased this Mazda 2 for $5,000. We purchased it over the summer, and ever since the summer, since it's been listed on the Turo platform, this car has been bringing in consistently $700 in profit per month. So that is $700 after all of the expenses have been paid off on this car. In fact, we will end up recouping the cost of this car entirely by mid-January of 2022, which means that 2022 will be pure profit for this vehicle. Now, whenever it comes to why this Mazda 2 is such a strong performer, I think that there's a few different reasons. Number 1 is the looks of the car. The car is a lime green color, which I do think catches the eyes of renters, especially if you're somebody that is scrolling through the Turo platform looking for a car to rent. A car that is lime green is going to catch your eye a bit more than a car that is black, white, or gray. Because of this, I do think that it's done really well utilization-wise. In addition to the color, the car as a whole is very, very clean. The car has virtually nothing wrong with it. The exterior is extremely clean with no dents, dings, scratches, nothing, and the interior is really good as well. The Mazda 2 is a small enough car to where it attracts those renters that are looking for an economical ride that has good gas mileage, but it isn't too small to where people are put off by the vehicle. For example, my 2007 Toyota Yaris, which is a 2-door, very egg-like, very small car, sometimes people do not like renting that car because of the fact that it is too small. The Mazda 2, on the other hand, is a little bit larger, and so because of that, I think people feel a little bit more comfortable renting that car, especially whenever whenever they're going to be driving it on the highway versus renting some of my smaller vehicles. The Mazda 2 as a whole is just a very well-rounded vehicle, and it checks a lot of the boxes that a renter would be looking for whenever they're wanting to rent a car on Turo. Now, I bought my Mazda 2 for $5,000, and if you're looking for a similar car to a Mazda 2, then either looking for a Mazda 2 specifically or alternatively another Mazda model, for example, a Mazda 3 could be a really good route to pursue, or alternatively, you could even look at Hyundais, which are very comparable in price, but they do offer a little bit more luxuries than the typical Mazda. But I will caution you that if you're looking at Hyundais, be careful and do your due diligence because some Hyundais do have notoriously bad engine problems. My second best performing vehicle in my Turo fleet is my 2008 Ford Escape. And you guys may recall that I have talked about this car in previous videos because it was actually my best performing car in 2019 and in 2020. Now, whenever it comes to my 2008 Ford Escape, I've owned this car for a couple of years now, and I purchased this car for $4,500, which was an absolute steal of a deal at the time that I bought it. Now, this car pretty consistently brings in between $750 and $800 per month in profit. Now, whenever it comes to why this Ford Escape does so well on Turo, I think it ultimately does come down to the fact that it is an affordable SUV, and it checks the box of being a larger car, which a lot of people need. And if you're looking for a car that will perform similarly to this Ford Escape, then I would encourage you to look for some of those more affordable SUVs. For example, looking at older model Ford Escapes, looking at Hyundai Santa Fe's, Honda Pilots, makes and models similar to that. Those makes and models that are nice, clean cars, but they don't necessarily have all of the luxuries that people are used to, and because of that, you can offer it at a cheaper price. And then last, but certainly not least, my best performing car of 2021. Now again, I do want to preface the fact that I purchased this car over the summer, and so whenever we accumulate my total earnings for my fleet, this car has not earned the most amount of money, but because of the fact that it is generating the most on a month-by-month basis, I know that it is my best performing car, and that is my 2009 Mercedes-Benz C300. Now, I actually have a video on my vlog channel documenting when and how I purchased this car. It was an absolute steal of a deal, and I bought this car for $6,000, and whenever I purchased it, it had just about 80,000 miles on it. Since this car has been on the Turo platform, it has been very consistently generating about $1,000 per month, meaning it is bringing in $1,000 that is after all of the expenses have been paid, which is absolutely huge and way more than I thought that it would do. Not only the fact that we got this car for a killer deal, but the Mercedes brand has allowed for us to charge a premium for this vehicle. Now, say what you want about Mercedes, I think that people either love or hate this brand name, but the fact is the Mercedes name automatically is associated with luxury, and because of that, people are willing to pay a higher price to rent this car. Now, this is a 2009, so it is a little bit older, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that this Mercedes hasn't aged very well. Not this Mercedes specifically, but just the 2009 year model as a whole. The exterior of the car looks great, and I think that whenever you're looking at it, it isn't blatantly obvious that the car is 10, 11, 12 years old. But whenever you go inside the car is extremely outdated, and to be honest, I've been surprised that it's done as well as it's done on Turo. Now, to be honest, if you're somebody who's looking to buy a Mercedes to add to your Turo fleet, I would be very cautious on which cars you add because of the fact that older model Mercedes can be unpredictable. Because of this, I have not been super eager about adding another Mercedes to our fleet, despite the fact that this Mercedes has done so well. An alternative car, though, that you could look at would be a Lexus, because a Lexus has the same reputation as Mercedes, maybe not quite the same, but pretty close, but it is much more reliable because it is a Toyota product rather than a German product. But I will warn you, Lexuses are very expensive, and it is very hard to find one that is even close to $6,000. Now, whenever it comes to Turo and which cars perform well versus which ones don't, one thing that I've learned this year more than any other year on the Turo platform is the cars that perform really well on Turo are the cars that give off nice vibes without having a nice price. For example, I think that the Mercedes does so well because of the fact that it is a Mercedes, but it is much cheaper than renting out a 2020 Mercedes because of the fact that it's 10 years older. With the Ford Escape, I think people like it because of the fact that it's an affordable SUV. If we pivot over to my Maserati Ghibli, I think that the reason why the Maserati Ghibli does well on Turo is because of the fact that it is a luxury car without the luxury price. I think people on Turo are looking for a good experience, but they don't necessarily want to pay a ton of money for that experience. So if you can find cars that fill that unique niche and that unique need, then I think that you have the opportunity to make a ton of money. This paired, of course, with the business model of buying low-end economy cars like a Mazda 2, like Toyota Yaris's, like Ford Focuses, I think that the combination of the two tactics are really solid, and I think that they pair really well together. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.